Good morning, everybody. In this video, I want to explain how dysfunctional parents with narcissistic and psychopathic traits weaponize a divorce to get their selfish goals and get rid of their children, get rid of their own children. So I have this insight because I analyze patterns that I have experienced, and I believe psychopaths are goal oriented. So nothing that happens by coincidence, especially not things that happen based on their actions. Of course, the narration is the opposite. In the narration, they will say, oh, these things happened because of an emergency. We tried to avoid all of this, but it was not possible, blah, 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 meaning rationalizing, generalizing, and moralizing the behavior and presenting themselves as saviors. So typically, the psychopath is a savior, which puts them in a position to take all resources and control them, while the savior role is also the same inside the narcissistic shared cult fantasy as well as outside. So the psychopath is dominant, while narcissists rather present themselves outward as victim and inward as perpetrator. So, and they work in teams, all right? So, psychopath and narcissist is a very effective team. The narcissist is dysfunctional and has the ability and the pathology to only act based on a fantasy. The fantasy can be used to immerse people into the cult and manipulate people, and the psychopath can use this fantasy to violate other people while maintaining the clean facade of being super regulated, functional, and indifferent towards everything. In other words, a perfect facade of a controlled human being, deflecting the dysfunction onto the narcissist. So they play the bad cop, good cop game. So the bad cop is the narcissist, the good cop is the psychopath. However, how do they use divorce from a partner they have children with to gain their selfish goals, on the cost of traumatization of their children and the partner and many other people evolved and then emerge as a savior? How does this work? It works through coercive control and coercive persuasion, which are traits that you can ask ChatGPT what it is. You can Google it, or you can look in the description. I will put in a description about this video. So they use coercive control and coercive persuasion, gaslighting, and all manipulative tactics like triangulation to get rid of their original partner and parent of the children. This happened to me. And then I understood that they want me to function as an outsourced pawn of them that takes care of the children for them so that I function the way they intended. So they decided to play God in my life by engaging in sexually self-trashing behavior in the family home, and use this as an element of coercive persuasion to destabilize everybody inside. So, and they used sleep deprivation, and they thought that then I will just move a little bit into the distance just to take care of the children 50-50, and they can live their filthy life according to their goals. So they decided to play God without asking me on my consent or the children's consent. Everybody, the children and me, would have said, no, we don't want that. We don't want that. All right. I want to be here for my children 100% of the time, but the people with narcissistic and psychopathic traits only want to be there for their children 50% of the time. So they want to get rid of the children, and they need to shoot out this other partner. They need to coercively remove a person to also get rid of the kids 50% of the time. Um, so I knew this, and I said, if I have to go, I made it a mutual exclusive decision. I don't live with people that escaped from asylum, who need medical treatment and are just laying in bed all the time, are unable to work, consume marijuana, and are speaking in a delusional, dysregulating way, emotionally dysregulated and speaking in a neurotic or dissociative way, a crazy person basically. I don't want to live with that in my family, but the person with psychopathic traits, which is the cult leader, I would say, decided for this other person. Of course, in the narration, it's generalized, moralized, and rationalized, and the person will not take this clear position, but this is what happened. I knew this, and so I had to leave. And I said, I will not just now adapt to your stupid, filthy behavior and work the way you intended. And I moved away. And I said them, I will not pay for asylum for this asylum that you create there. I will not pay for this asylum that you create there. You can do what I did before, do it better, prove me that I'm wrong with my assumptions, that this will go downhill with the children. Prove me wrong, and I will not pay for it. And I will also not pay child support for this, because I'm now here to support you 100%, as I always did, with my work, with my childcare, and with all my money. So you get my full support. If you don't want me, I'm out. And no, and don't ask for child support. I did that, and the child support came. I said, all right, now it's on. Now it's on, because as you know, my children have spoken out. They suffered immensely of all these developments. They have an abandonment trauma because I had to leave so sudden without any further explanation, as well as the person who is dysregulated, drug addicted, unable to work, coming from asylum, is engaging in hateful speech towards my children that they did not understand, and they are heavily emotionally compromised by this situation that they can talk to nobody about. And now, for a psychopath and a narcissist, it's acceptable or it's normal to traumatize other people, use all manipulative tactics in the book: triangulation, coercive control, coercive persuasion, gaslightings, a smear campaign, everything. They use this to get their goals, to get a person away, to get rid of their children 50% of the time, to reduce the time that the children spend with the other parent from 100% to 0% and then to 50%, which means a reduction from 100 to 50. In other words, they traumatize the children and the other parent to pursue their goal to become therapists and healers. For them, this is normal. So I use all manipulation tactics in the book. I traumatize my own children in two ways, in different ways, through abandonment traumas in different ways. So I want to get rid of my children 50% of the time, plus the other parent will get under the same rule also 50% reduction, which creates a very difficult situation for the children. And I do all of this because I'm a psychopath, to become a therapist, because this is my goal. And I have made a plan that when I do it this way, it will work. And what works is right. For the psychopath, what works is right. So again, I have to repeat this one more time. I use all manipulative tactics, psychological warfare tactics, triangulation and gaslighting and coercive control, coercive persuasion. I traumatize my own children. I enable a person with a cluster B personality disorder to take care of my children, to have access to my children, who then really damages the mentality of my children, and I do this to become a therapist. That makes sense for a psychopath because it works. Yes, it works. And the narcissist, of course, also becomes a healer. Yeah, they are ready to heal the world. I think so. So, this is the malignant shared fantasy core of a dysfunctional family cult. And these are the therapists and healers that we don't need in the world. We don't need these kinds of abominations, okay? So, I just wanted to make this real quick video to show you the power of generalization, rationalization, and moralizing behavior under the narrative control of a pseudo-mutual family, which is really just a cover up for an asylum that in the public has the picture of, as I said, a pseudo-mutual family and people who are now on a healing journey, becoming therapists and healers of all kinds of ways, while they are utterly dysfunctional and create havoc in their social environment. It's crazy.